Chapter 6. Frame and Forms in HTML5. Frames. In HTML, frames are used to divide your browser window into more than one section, and each section can load a different HTML document. A frame set is a group of frames that are shown together in the browser window. The window is broken up into frames similar to how tables are organized in rows and columns. Advantages of a frame. Some advantages of a frame are given below. Frames are used to view multiple documents within a single web page web browser window. Frames are used to load pages from different servers in a single frame set. The outdated browsers that do not support frames can be addressed by the tags. Frame set tag. To create frames in a web browser, we use frame set tag instead of body tag. The frame set tag is used to define how to divide the browser window into the different frames. Attributes of frame set tag. The frame set tag has various attributes. Some of them are discussed here. The calls attribute. When we want to create vertical frames in web browser, then we use calls attribute. The calls attribute is used to define the number of columns and their sizes inside the frame set tag. We can specify the width of each column in the following ways. Absolute values in pixels. Percentage value. Wildcard values in percentage. Example. Less than frame set calls is equal to double quote 30, 80, 60 double quote close. Less than frame set calls is equal to double quote 20%, 35%, 10% double quote close. Less than frame set calls is equal to double quote 15% into 40%, 25% double quote close. The rows attribute. When we want to create horizontal frames in web browser, then we use rows attribute. The rows attribute is used to define the number of rows and their sizes inside the frame set tag. We can specify the height of each row in the following ways. Absolute values in pixels. Percentage value. Wildcard values in percentage. Example. Less than frame set rows is equal to double quote 50, 60, 80 double quote close. Less than frame set rows is equal to double quote 20%, 30%, 20% double quote close. Less than frame set rows is equal to double quote 20% into 20% double quote close. The border attribute. This attribute is used to define the width of border of each frame. We specify values in pixel, and for no border we use 0 value. Example. Less than frame set border is equal to double quote 10 double quote frame set close. The frame border attribute. This attribute is used to add a border, 2D or 3D. We specify two values 0 and 1, where 0 refers to the no border and value 1 refers to a border. The frame spacing attribute. This attribute is used to define the amount of spacing between the frames in a frame set. We specify values in pixel. Example. Less than frame spacing is equal to double quote 50, double quote close. Attributes of frame tag. Name. This attribute is used to give names to the frame. It differentiates one frame from another. It is also used to indicate which frame a document should load it into. src. This attribute is used to define the source file that should be loaded into the frame. The value of src can be any URL. Example. Less than frame name is equal to double quote left double quote src is equal to double quote slash
HTML
slash left dot htm double quote slash close. Margin width. This attribute in frame tag is used to specify width of the spaces in pixels between the border and contents of left and right frame. Less than frame margin width equal to double quote 20 double quote close. Margin height. This attribute in frame tag is used to specify height of the spaces in pixels between the border and contents of top and bottom frame. Less than frame margin height equal to double quote 20 double quote close. Scroll bar. To control the appearance of scroll bar in frame, use scroll bar attribute in frame tag. This is basically used to control the appearance of scroll bar. The value of this attribute can be yes, no, or true. The value no denotes there will be no appearance of scroll bar. Less than frame scroll bar equal to double quote no double quote close. You can create similar frames in HTML. Frame 1, Frame 2. Iframe. The iframe stands for inline frame. The iframe tag creates a little box on a web page where you can show another web page inside it. It's like a window inside a window, and you can even have scroll bars and borders around it. An iframe is like a tiny window on a web page that can display another web page inside the main one. It's a way to include a separate document within the current web page. Syntax. Less than iframe src equal to double quote URL double quote title equal to double quote description double quote close less than slash iframe close. In iframe, it contains single value, that is, URL. There are two types of URL links. Absolute URL, refer to another web page. Relative URL, refer to other files of the same web page. HTML codes for iframe. Exclamation mark doctype HTML. HTML. Head. Title iframe example slash title. Slash head. Body. H1 embedded web page slash 1. P below is an example of an iframe, slash. Iframe src is equal to https www.example.com width is equal to 800 height is equal to 600 frame border is equal to 0. Scrolling is equal to no slash frame. P end of the embedded content, slash. Slash body. Slash HTML. Forms in HTML5. In general, forms are used to gather the information from users, such as their names, email addresses, contact numbers, and comments. With the help of forms, we can collect required data from the users. These forms are created using less than form greater than element of HTML. The less than frame greater than element facilities to input text, email, password, number, values, and control fields such as checkboxes, radio buttons, submit buttons, etc. Syntax. The less than frame greater than. Less than Form elements greater than. The less than frame greater than. Form elements. Let's understand the elements of the form they will use to create a form. The less than label greater than element. It is used to define a label for many form elements. The less input greater than element. It is used to get input data from the form in various types such as text, password, email, etc. by changing its type. It is totally depending on the type of attribute. The less input type equal to double quote text double quote close. It displays a single line text input field. The less input type equal to double quote radio double quote close. It displays a radio button. The less input type equal to double quote checkbox double quote close. It displays a checkbox for selecting 0 or more of many choices. Input type is equal to submitted displays a submit button. Input type is equal to button. It displays a clickable button. The select element, it is used to create a drop-down list. The text area element, it is used to get input long text content. The field set element, it creates a box around other form elements and group the related data. The legend element, it is used to define a caption for field set elements. The data list element, it is used to specify predefined list options for various input controls. The output element, it is used to display the output of performed calculations. The option element, it defines different options in a drop-down list. The op group element, it defines group-related options in a drop-down list. Create a simple form. You know about the elements and their uses. Now create a simple form in HTML. Create radio buttons. The less than input type is equal to double quote radio double quote greater than defines a radio button. The radio buttons are normally presented in radio groups. Only one radio button in a group can be selected at the same time. Create checkboxes. The input type is equal to double quotes checkbox double quotes defines a checkbox. A checkbox is used to select more than one option from a limited number of options. Submit button. The input type is equal to double quotes submit double quotes defines a submit button. The submit button is required to submit all form values to a form handler. The form handler is typically a server page with a script for processing the input data. Create a form using the element of form. Doc type HTML. Head. Title form in HTML title. Head. Body. Form H2. P. Fill the strong input details strong carefully. P. Form. Label first name. Input name is equal to first name label. P. Label last name. Input name is equal to last name label. P. Gender. Label input type is equal to radio name is equal to gender value is equal to male. Label. Label input type is equal to radio name is equal to gender value is equal to female. Label. Label input type is equal to radio name is equal to gender. Value is equal to transgender. Label. P. Label email Input type is equal to email name is equal to email. Label P. Label date of birth. Input type is equal to date name is equal to birth date. Label P. Label address BR. Text area name is equal to address cause is equal to 30. Rows is equal to 3. Text area. Label P. Button type is equal to submit button. P. Form. Body. HTML. In summary, frames are used to divide your browser window into more than one section, and each section can load a different HTML document. The frameset tag is used to define how to divide the browser window into the different frames. The cause attribute is used to define the number of columns and their sizes inside the frameset tag. The rows attribute is used to define the number of rows and their sizes inside the frameset tag. The border attribute is used to define the width of border of each frame. The src attribute is used to define the source file that should be loaded into the frame. The iframe tag creates a little box on a web page where you can show another web page inside it. The frame element facilitates to input text, email, password, number, values, and control fields, such as checkboxes, radio buttons, submit buttons, etc.